But that was different. Jake Paul says he will be working with prominent fighters as he prepares for Tank, including black fighters in sparring to get ready for Gervonta Tank Davis. In this video, I'm going to expose how fake boxing fans are. You don't want to miss this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Oh my gosh, as soon as I heard this, I couldn't wait to make this video because my job here is to prove myself right and to prove y'all wrong. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. Boxing Ego does it again. You see it. Jake Paul's company, Most Valuable Promotions, they put this out. It says Jake Paul is sparring Shakur Stevenson to prepare for Tank Davis. And without further ado, I just want you guys to hear it, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts.
Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're going to hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just going to bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty southpaws. Yeah, in terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're going to hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just going to bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty southpaws. Yeah, in terms of...
Boom. You never know. You never know. So Jake Paul is telling you what is on the itinerary as he prepares for Gervonta Davis, right? And he has some pretty interesting names, to say the least. He says, we're bringing in Montana Love. That's one guy. Black fighter, right? He said Erickson Lubin, who's getting ready for a upcoming fight with Virgil Ortiz, right? He says Shakur Stevenson wants to come down. You heard it. If you didn't, rewind this track, picture me rolling. He says Shakur Stevenson wants to come through as well to help me spar. I'm getting crafty southpaws. And he also said Jermaine Ortiz, right? Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking because I've proven time and time again I'm levels above the casual boxing thought process. So some of you guys are like, so who cares? What does this mean? Yada, 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 right? What is your point, Ego? Let me show you. Bam, feast your eyes on this. There's my video right there. So Canelo Alvarez just had a fight with a black fighter in Terrence Crawford. And I tell you all the time, there's a lot of low quality content available in this boxing space. So if you want to pollute the airwaves and listen to it, have at it. But I can't do that. You know what I mean? But when Canelo announced through pictures, or it was posted basically, it leaked that he was working with a black talent like Gervonta Ennis for his upcoming fight with the black fighter in Terrence Crawford. You had these fake FBA dudes, these fake pro-black channels that aren't really pro-black, who instigate more beasts with black people, right? And they made this into a racial thing and somehow made it seem like Canelo getting in some work with a guy like Gervonta Ennis was a bad thing for him. Now, obviously, it didn't change the outcome of the fight and go his way, but that's neither here nor there. The point I'm making is you have people who literally put out content, put out posts on their Instagrams, TikToks, Twitters, YouTube, whatever, live streams, and they were condescending to a black fighter whilst trying to be pro-black. And a guy like Gervonta Ennis, they call him like a traitor. Why are you helping a Mexican fighter prepare to, because essentially you're helping somebody with sparring, right? So you're essentially in camp to help that person gear up to beat who's in front of him. And we all knew Canelo was fighting Terrence Crawford, a black fighter, right? So they're like, why would the young up-and-coming black stud, why would he go help a Mexican fighter? This was their talking point. And once again, Boxing Ego continues to deliver. I told you that was beyond stupid. Anybody who was saying that hasn't spent substantial time and years in a boxing gym. These fighters are sparring people from all over the world. And it is what it is. You feel what I'm saying? Like, Canelo, he knew Crawford was going to be a tough task, so he enlisted the best. Yoel Hernandez, guys like Gervonta Ennis, and he still came up short. But for me, I don't have a disdain for any of these fighters, so I'm not going to criticize Canelo or Boots for a move that everybody does. The goal in boxing, everybody's trying to win. Everybody's trying to get to the next level and stuff like that, right? So I want you as boxing fans to go back and remember the channels and the people and the low-quality content that were putting out this nonsense talking about Boots, how could he? This is so crazy. He's a race traitor. Why would you help the Mexican fighter? All of these things, right, that they were saying. But then I just played you a clip from Jake Paul, and he just told you that I have all of these black fighters coming to my camp, right? Coming to my camp to help me try to beat Gervonta Davis. Now all of a sudden it's crickets. What happened to the same energy? Like, keep the same energy. All the hate that Boots was getting for helping the quote-unquote ops, right? And people publicize it. Then Jake Paul, not only did he name black fighters that he's going to be working with, right? He said Shakur Stevenson wants to come down. Just listen to the audio that I provided from you. He said he wants to join camp. So essentially, Shakur is somebody that the boxing world wants to see fight Tank. Why would you then, because again, a lot of the same channels that put out the nonsense about Boots being a traitor and how could he and all that type of stuff, a lot of the same people, they're pushing for Tank to fight against Shakur Stevenson, right? So my thing is this. If Shakur really wanted to fight Tank, why would you help somebody else in an exhibition potentially beat your foe? Like for Boots wasn't trying to fight Canelo. He hadn't even moved up to 54, right? So that deal wasn't on the table about him fighting Canelo. So, it didn't really matter if he sparred with Canelo or not because he wasn't moving to 168. Crawford had already fronted on him and pretty much said that they're not fighting. You know what I mean? So it don't matter. You weren't going to fight either one of these people more than likely, right? But yet and still, you have people who criticize Boots for helping a Mexican fighter, right? A Mexican fighter prepare for Crawford. And they made this into this big deal, right? But Jake Paul's telling you Erickson Lubin, Southpaw, Montana Love, and Shakur Stevenson wants to come down. Those are all three black people. You don't hear nothing from the usual suspects, the low-quality content, about how Shakur Stevenson or Erickson Lubin, how could they go against code and all this type of stuff. Where's the content about that? because the news is probably a couple days old right now by the time I'm making this video. So how come nobody's saying Shakur went off code? I thought Shakur and Tank was the fight that y'all wanted to see. So why would you help Jake Paul, a Caucasian boxer, you know? Why would you help him beat the guy that allegedly you want to fight? That don't really make sense to me either. So does Shakur Stevenson really even want to fight Tank? Once again, I get proven right. The double standards are absolutely insane and people look dumb. Me, I don't care who Jake Paul. I don't even really care about the Jake Paul Tank fight. It's just, it is what it is. It's a novelty fight going to make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I don't care who either of them spar with, but I simply am making this video to follow up because you had all these people, that's what I'm saying. You guys are getting got by false prophets. You have people who are like, oh man, Boots Ennis, I can't support him now. He broke code and went against code. How could he? Why is he with Canelo? Why is he helping the op? Right? But then you got Jake Paul. He's doing tributes to certain people. He's trying to fight a black fighter in Tank Davis, who he's mad bigger than, right? And now all of a sudden, none of these people care about Shakur Stevenson and Lubin and all these other people that Jake Paul said himself are helping him in camp to try to beat Tank. Unbelievable stuff. And Jake Paul's dad was talking greasy towards Tank. So again, I told you from the beginning what this was about. Tank Davis has a lot of haters. So it's easy to flood the airways and pollute the game when it comes to Tank hate and get people on your side. It takes people like me to set the record straight and give the game a fair shake. You know what I mean? But all these double standards and name calling and all that stuff that Boots received, but now nobody's saying anything about Jake Paul and who's trying to help him, like Shakur Stevenson. I haven't heard nobody say Shakur broke code. Why are you helping him? And Jake Paul, some people aren't even looking at him as a real boxer. They're looking at him as still an outsider. So why would Shakur and Lubin and all these other real boxers, why are you helping a former Disney person prepare to beat somebody he's like dang near 100 pounds bigger than, you know what I mean? And now it's crickets. Now just listen to what Jake Paul's pops had to say and how he demeaned Tank's team. And you tell me if Shakur helping him spar makes sense.
Trying to have a conversation with him, it's worse than talking to a third grader. And then his team didn't even know what the fuck they talking about. They're like, oh, well, how about we want to do 8 or 10 ounce gloves and blah, blah. And Jake's like, that was your guys' team. And his manager, whoever the fuck the retard was like, well, I didn't know about it. Well, what the fuck do you guys do? You know, like, just the boxing community should be thanking the fact that there's somebody with some brains representing the future of boxing. Thank you, Jake. Tank, you're a fucking retard. GP's out.